Hey there folks, and here I am about to start roll reveal number 94. This is a 1971 Philadelphia original machine wrapped roll of pennies, or Lincoln cents as some people call them. We're going to be looking for some major double dies in this one. Nice double dies, actually. So we're not looking for repunch mint marks because there are no mint marks on Philadelphia minted coins. Here's for the actual wrapper, which is a red 50 pennies wrapper. And here's all my people. Hey Joe, coin junkie. Got my names in the bag. Got the one for the wrapper in the bag. And I'm going to go ahead and open it. Find my weak point. Figured out that where the end of the paper is tucked in is usually a little weaker than the rest of the hold. And so if you start there, they tend to pull apart a little bit better. A little easier. Hey Paula. Brady. Jeff Dunn. There we go. Finally it's starting to come open. This was a tough roll. Tough little wrapper. There we go. There's that end. Of course I did the hard end first. This one's a little easier. Okay. So, paper over the coins, just like usual. Alright, all the coins still in the same order and same orientation they were in the roll. And here we're ready to get started. Pull out name number 1. Hey Jim Fletcher. Well, there's that. I'm going to have to put it back because there's nobody to give the wrapper to. So, pull a different one. Silver nitrate. Silver nitrate goes first. Let's take our first coin, take a look at it and see what we got. Wow, very late die state. Franken coin. Good gosh. Man, that's one of the latest die states I've ever seen on a coin. That's basically to the point of near die damage there. That's actually molecules of metal right there. That's not stuff on the coin. That's the strangest looking stuff I've ever seen. Hopefully we don't have very many of those. Take a look at the reverse. Nothing's known for the reverse of 1971 Lincoln cents. Well, I mean, it's a nice red coin. Relatively clean of marks. But man, the surface of that die was just messed up. Wow. Really messed up. Alright, silver nitrate gets coin number 1. And we could hope that had something to do with the fact that it was on the end of the roll, but I don't think so. Alright, let's pull coin number 2. Coin number 2. Well, okay, I cannot get away from pulling this thing out of the bag. So silver nitrate gets the wrapper. And the scientific notation for silver nitrate right there. And it will go into this red wrapper for 1971. And that will go to Mr. Silver Nitrate. Okay. Next in a row, Paul Hampton. Let's see what Paul picked out. Decent 1971, but it still looks the same as the last one. Rather very late die state. All the same things that we saw in the previous die. The previous coin anyway. Probably the same die. All the way around. Here's Paul Hampton for coin number 2. And coin number 3 will go to James Worley. The coins are nice and shiny. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the luster. Just see, this one's a lot less marked up than the last ones were. Oh, we've still got some, it's like flaking of some sort on the die. No hub doubling on the obverse. That is machine doubling right there. Can tell by the way it terminates. So you got machine doubling on the obverse. Just a little bit of this weird die flaking on the reverse around the UN of United. Very strange looking stuff. Alright, so that's James Worley. It's coin number 3. Looking for double dies in an original roll of 1971 Philadelphia Lincoln cents. I found them before. I know they are locatable. So it's not like they're stupid rare. Jeff Dunn. Next coin. And once again, we go back to that die that has the really strange pitting and flaking all over it. This is very interesting. This is actually molecules of the metal. It looks like some sort of science experiment. But I guarantee you it's not. That's just how the die flaked apart as it was wearing. There's more of it down around the bow tie. Here's the date. You got a lot of that stuff going on in the LIB of Liberty. It's almost like what we would typically refer to as orange peel, but those happen on the zinc cents. This one's definitely a brass planchet coin, so it didn't change the zinc for another 11 years. A very unusual looking coin there. And quick check of the reverse. Shows nothing. That's coin number 4. Jeff Dunn. And get this in its place. So let's see coin number 5. Who gets coin number 5? Paul Hampton. Paul Hampton will get coin number 5. Let's see what it is. Not anywhere near running out of hope that we could get double dies in this roll. Nowhere near it yet. There's some very strange looking coins coming out of here though with a weird die wear. Kind of looks like rusted die, but I'm just not quite there for rust. Rust is usually a little more bumpy, but less stipply like that. It's kind of strange. Rust is more clumps of bumps that are of different heights. And this looks like, I don't know, just looks weird. It's got to be die wear. There's coin number 5. And that was for Paul Hampton. Moving right along, coin number 6. Hey, coin junkie. Eric Beyer. I mean, it could be rust. It's just strange that it happens to be on all of the areas where you get more die wear because of the ramping down of the design. Rust typically doesn't have anything to do specifically with the design. It can happen pretty much anywhere on the die, and it will. And it will bridge over areas where you go from no relief to high relief. It basically just doesn't care. It's a surface thing, not a design thing. Whereas this appears to be more of a design thing, like almost like an indirect design transfer type thing, only this appears to be some strange form of die wear. That's coin number 6 there. Didn't get anything on it. Let's draw for coin number 7. Coin number 7 goes to Joe McBride. And what will Joe McBride come out of here with? It's like, just like a little kid. Every time I pull out another coin in a roll, I'm going to think, this next one's going to be the big one. And of course, most of the time I'm proven wrong. The next one doesn't turn out to be the big one. But then it's kind of like a guy who sits in front of a slot machine, keeps pulling the slot arm, thinking, the next one's going to be the big one. Next one's going to be the big one. Or someday, after repeated attempts, depending on how many repeated attempts it takes, you do end up finding the big one. The problem with it is, how much do you go through to get to that big one? All right, Joe McBride, coin number 7. On to number 8. Coin number 8 will be Sissy Atwell. Let's see what Sissy picks out here. These are nice bright red coins. They just have that weird, I don't know, it looks like measles of some sort. It's very strange looking die wear. Nice big die scratch coming out of the front of the forehead there. It's a little die gouge, as it appears. It could be part of, no, it's actually part of the design. That's where the hair tucks in behind the forehead. Give that roundness to the design. They don't care anymore, they just make them flat. Yeah, actually, since the Shield Cent first came out in 2010, they've done a little bit better with the design of the portrait design of Lincoln. You go through most of the years in the 90s and the 2000s, and they looked kind of horrible. They were flat caricature representative images of Lincoln, but they were kind of ugly. It seems that since the Shield Cent started coming out, they've been doing better with that. I'm kind of, Coin Junkie, I'm kind of going to go here with some sort of die wear. I'm not thinking rusted die, and the reason I'm not thinking rusted die is because the rusted die is not going to matter. The rust won't matter where the design picks up and leaves off, and it seems like here the only places that are affected are places where the design makes a change in relief. And so because of that, I'm going to go with die wear rather than rust, and the wear just had a very strange puck-marked appearance. Rust is typically just going to come in clumps, where you'll have a large area of rust, but it won't make any difference whether your design is high, low relief, or changing relief. It's just going to be there. So I kind of going to rule against the idea of rusting die here. Coin number 9. That was coin number 9 for silver nitrate. You guys will notice that I have not yet completely shaken my cold. I still have it. Wild Bill. Well, Bill gets the next coin. But just as the doctors will tell you, one of the best ways not to catch illnesses and viruses and germs and things from people is to wash your hands frequently. And I do. I find myself, I wash my hands at least 5 or 6 times a day. And I wash them for a good minute to a minute and a half each time. Dog sits under my feet looking at me, wondering, are you ever going to finish? Are we ever going to play? Yeah, we will. And let me wash my hands. Then we can play, and then I'll wash my hands again. How's that sound? Sour sharks. Sour sharks. I don't think I've ever had a sour shark. Alright, so here's another 1971 Lincoln Cent. This one is not as nice as most of the others have been. This one's a little flat. So I'm going to go to Jim Fletcher. It was right in the middle of the roll almost. Where are we at? Number 11? Yeah, okay. Not in the middle of the roll. I have seen this die before, though, because all of this stuff is on some of these other coins. So, I'm kind of thinking, was it just an anomaly of how it was stored in the bag? A lot of times these things were stored in bags for, up to a year or two before they were rolled. That was coin number 11. Coin number 11 going to Jim Fletcher. Let's take a look at coin number 12. Coin number 12 will be going to silver nitrate. Wow. This one is flash bright. Holy moly, I don't think I've seen a 71 this bright before. This thing is just gorgeous. You have to see this. How bright that luster is. That's one of the brightest 1971 plain Lincoln cents I've seen. Obverse and reverse. I mean, it has a few spots and stuff on it, but the luster is just high class. High class luster. There you go. That's what I'm going to call that. High class luster. It's high class luster, Lester. It's going to be coin number 12. Now, coin number 13. Lucky number 13 goes to Adam Chambers. Let's see what Adam gets. So you can contrast this level of luster with what we just saw. This is nice, but it's not near as flashy as that last one. Zoom out here. There we go. Focus, focus. Yeah, it's primarily because, well, design wear is going to be an issue with the design, so it's going to follow patterns of the design, whereas rust is a surface issue, so it's not going to have anything to do with the design. It's going to show up wherever it shows up. That's what tells me this isn't rust. That plus it's on multiple dies. It was just a bad day for the dies, I think. Here we go, Joe McBride. Joe McBride for coin number 14. This is another one of the really bright ones. And we notice a lot of these are coming from the same dies because the dies are just beat up. And that's too bad a thing. I was kind of hoping for some really nice coins in this. And there are some nice grade coins in here. They'll grade well, but they aren't nice under a microscope. So it looks great until you look right up close. But since most people don't ever look right up close, they'll never notice this issue unless you point it out to them. Coin number 14 was Joe McBride. On to coin number 15. Coin number 15 will be for James Worley. This is one of those years that you either hit it or you don't. You know, you find it, you've got it, it's great. Valuable, nice, really cool looking, decent double dies. If you don't, it's a pretty boring issue. You can get high grade coins, get pretty decent grades on decent money for high grade coins. Tends to be a little more difficult to find than some other dates. Dealer bid prices on rolls have been anywhere between $6 and $10 since I started doing coins. A lot of the other issues from that time period are more like a $2 to $3 roll. So obviously in slightly shorter supply than other issues. So 1969 Philadelphia and 1971 Philadelphia, they both seem to get a little higher than the average. Eric Beyer gets the next coin. Let's see what we have in here. Yeah, just more of the same. More of that funky dunky, weird looking die stuff. Alright, everybody here sees Paula Bloom's message. If anybody here has multiple examples of one of those, wants to sell it, sell it, Shelly, she'd like to have one. So let us know. And that's for Eric Beyer. I think our broadcast is a little early for a lot of the people in the roll. Haven't seen very many people in here who are involved in the roll. That was coin number 16. Coin number 16 going to Eric Beyer. Now we're going to pull out coin number 17. And number 17 goes back to silver nitrate again. I'm sure silver nitrate has a few of them. This one is not one of them, though. Has just a little bit of that stuff around In God. I think it has some on the UNI on the reverse. Right there. But not much anywhere else on the coin. This is what I would call the cleanest of the dies that I am pulling so far. I think there's 4 different dies so far. One of them has none on it, one of them has a little bit, and 2 of them have a lot. Appreciate it, Joe. I'll go through and I'll look at your coins and make sure. Joe, how many did you get in this roll? I don't remember. Hey, Levels. Hey, look at that. I pull your name out as soon as you speak up. We've got issue with some really weird die wear. Here we go. Right there. You're getting one of them right there. Really weird die wear issues where the metal is flecked up, looks almost like measles. Very strange appearance. We've not found any hub doubling on any of these coins yet. We're just finding this stuff, and we're not really exactly sure what it is. We've batted down the idea of rusted die, because rusted die is typically not something that's going to have anything to do with the design itself. And This anomaly seems to be following the design, so it tells me it's die wear. What was that? Coin number 18. Coin number 18 for Levels of Madness. Now on to coin number 19. It is a crumbling die. It's a matter of what's causing that, and I believe it could be an improperly annealed die. So the die was not properly prepared to make coins, and it's not doing a very good job. Mr. Fletcher. See, this is one of the ones that doesn't have anything out of the ordinary on it. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Hello, Jessica. The one, the only Jessica Johnson is in the house. Actually, she's... When you get on Facebook these days and you start searching for people, you find out just how common names are. Really, really strange. I bet there's probably 75 Jessica Johnsons on Facebook. I know there's more than one Charles Daughtrey or Chuck Daughtrey spelled the right way. I think there's a guy in North Carolina. It's going to be even more confusing now that I live in North Carolina, right? That's coin number 19. That's something for you to do. Search on Facebook and find out how many more people on Facebook have the same name as you. Eric Beyer. So I was looking for a guy earlier today, somebody I wanted to try to reconnect with. Oh, there's some machine doubling on that one. More of that heavy die puck marking. I was looking for a guy, and I tried his first and last name, and of course he's got one of those names that's like Bill and William. So it's not Bill and William, but he has another name that's something like that. So I tried searching for his first and last name, then possibly his first nickname and his last name. Still couldn't find him. Couldn't round it down. It was like there were hundreds of them. So then I tried his first name, middle initial, last name, and would you believe I still found like 20 of them? That's the number of this coin. Going to Eric Beyer. Hello, Eric. Just looked at one of your coins. And now we're back to Levels of Madness. Levels of Madness gets coin number 21. Blackjack. Lucky coin 21. Let's see what it is. And it looks like it has some of the odd spots more up in the motto than anywhere else. Got some on the UNIT of United. But we found no hub doubling in this roll so far. And levels is coin number 21. I'm not even sure where I got this pencil that I'm using. I was just wondering about it because it's not writing very well. Now I know the eraser is garbage because the eraser is just hard as a rock. But I just looked on this thing, and this pencil doesn't have a zip code on it. Does that tell you something? It's a Pittsburgh Paints store with no zip code next to the address. I have no idea how old this is. It's from Dallas, Texas. I don't even know how I got it. I've probably had it for 25, 30 years. Never collected pencils. They just kind of collect me, I guess. Alright, that was levels. Coin number 22. Here's my little pencil. It says on it Pittsburgh Paints. And it has an address in Dallas, Texas. With a phone number. It's got a 7-digit phone number. But there's no zip code. Look at the eraser. The eraser is shiny and hard as a rock. Probably been there for quite a while, but I still use the pencil. Hello, Vintage Soul. Alright, coin number 23 will go to James Worley. Coin number 23 looks like this. Cover a little bit of the light. Get us back down to a point where we can actually see the details, figure out what's going on here. This is reveal number 94, 1971 Philadelphia original machine wrapped roll. We're finding a lot of very strange looking dieware in this roll. You're looking at one of them right now. Well, Vintage Soul, I've been doing okay. Things are starting to look up. I'm feeling a little better than I have over the last week and a half or so. Seems that I've run into something that's decided to stick with me for a little while. I went to the A&A show in Atlanta. I kind of started feeling it when I was there. Wasn't exactly sure what it was going to end up being, but it turned out to be like a head cold. Mr. Fletcher. I joke with my wife and tell her I'm getting my coronavirus out of the way. Well, won't have to worry about it later, right? Hello, Hidden. Nothing there either. I got a few goodies. I mean, nothing. We had a show about it, the live volume 2 with Brian Allen and Chuck Daughtrey on the Coppercoins channel. You go back and watch that because that'll show you pretty much everything that both of us found at the show. I didn't buy a whole lot because, well, I mean, I had a whole lot of stuff coming in and had spent a lot of money on restock and didn't really need to spend a whole lot of money at the show because pretty much anything I got at the show I wasn't going to look at for weeks anyway. So I didn't buy much. It's Adam Chambers, coin number 25. Coin number 25 begins the half point. So we're near halftime now. Got a lot of these showing up. There's a lot of them. Well, the best thing is, you know, they say don't touch your face. Well, I just don't leave the house, so that makes it easy. I go out to walk my dog, and that's about it. I think I get about 10 miles a week on my car. That's just to go to the post office. So here's Adam Chambers with coin number 25. And even though I am falling slightly behind schedule, I'm still going to do a short commercial break, folks. We'll be right back. Be sure to check out and subscribe to Mantic Coins on YouTube, where host Shay Hoffmaster takes you through a fun-filled tour through numismatics to include coin auctions, educational videos, live roll hunts, and much more. Come join in the educational fun with Shay. Search Mantic Coins on YouTube and subscribe today. The best in online auctions just got better. Now you can enjoy Coin Night live auctions twice weekly with the addition of CNLA Weekend Edition with your host, Jessica Johnson. All the same excitement and the same great deals with a new host and at a new time. Come join in the fun this weekend. And here we are, ready to start the second half of this roll. I'll let you know that Jessica will be here this weekend. 3 o'clock p.m. Central Time on Sunday. She's already got our list of items ready to go. I'm not seeing anything on this one. It looks like we've pulled a roll that isn't going to have any really good stuff in it. It's just too bad. And Eric Perry gets coin number 26. I do have to begin informing people, and this is a good time to get started, that I will be gone most of next weekend. And in fact, I will not be able to do any roll reveals next week. I have a rather emergent issue to travel, and we'll be gone for about 4 days, 4 or 5 days, beginning Thursday morning of next week. So the auction that I have this coming Tuesday will not be shipped for an entire week. I will explain that again as the auction begins, so anyone who's in a hurry to get their stuff may not want to bid. Heck, anyone who's in a hurry to get their stuff doesn't bid from me anyway. You know it takes you a week to get my stuff. I don't like it that way, but I'm by myself here. I do everything I can to keep things going. And that includes trying to keep up with packages and these reveals. Working these reveals takes between 3 and 6 hours after, on average, 3 to 6 hours after I'm finished doing the show, which is roughly an hour. So we're talking about between 6 and 8 hours worth of work for each roll I do. We're talking about nearly an entire day of work, but that's nowhere near an entire day for me because I spend between 14 and 16 hours working every day, mostly 7 days a week. And that's not because I'm a workaholic or anything like that. It's because, well, there's a certain amount of things I just enjoy doing, and this is part of it. Sherman's leg is doing better. I appreciate you asking. We've had him on anti-inflammatory drugs for the last few days, and he seems to be doing much better. He's getting up and down the stairs. Took him outside, and about an hour ago, took him outside and saw him trying to run and pull me down the sidewalk for the first time this week. So I'm guessing he's doing better, considerably so. Temperature's kind of chilly outside. I think it's only in the 50s. It's not real nice out there. I'd love to see temperatures 10-15 degrees warmer than this. That's coin number 29. I went to Levels of Madness. Let's do coin number 30. Coin number 30 will go to Jeff Stanley. And Jeff Stanley's going to get a rusty mouth. Rusty mouth. Looks like looks like he's got some sort of a cage over his mouth, like a Hannibal Lecter type thing. It's not rust though. I seriously doubt rust on this. Yeah, I know some of you northern people are like, what are you talking about? Temperatures in the 50s is warm. Yeah, I mean, if you're used to temperatures below zero most of the winter time, the 50s is about as cold as we got most of the winter. And I moved here from Florida, so give me a break. That's coin number 30 for Jeff Stanley. And coin number 31, Mr. Betts. Bill Betts. Yeah, see, this one's toned down some too. Nothing on the obverse. Hello, kid did okay. And nothing on the reverse. Except all that sparkly stuff coming off of the die, where you're probably leaving crumbling bits of die behind. Little holes develop in the die, and the metal from the coins fill in those little holes. So what that causes is little tiny bumps all over the coin, and that's what we've got going on here. It's kind of a strange die wear pattern. Mr. Worley. Didn't we just do a Mr. Worley coin not long ago? Well, here's another Worley coin right here. That's got a nice die crack on it right there. Nice healthy die crack running through the skull to the top of the ear. Let's see. Who said I'm trying to save time on doing the coin reveals? It's not a time thing. Mr. Worley, coin number 32. It's just that it does take time to do. Not a big deal. Paul Hampton. Next coin to Paul Hampton. It would, completely. I'm not really even sure why suggest selling the entire roll. I mean, we don't get a chance to look at the coins if I'm selling the roll, and plus I sell rolls as well. This isn't the only way people get coins from me. I've sold thousands of rolls in the last 6 months. Let's see, this is coin number 33. Because once in a while I find rolls that I think are going to be good ones to go through for varieties. And we do it together. Jeff Dunn. Jeff Dunn will pick up the next coin. I see these different dies as we're running through these different dies. The pattern of the speckling that you see on the die changes from one to the next. You get a little bit more, a little bit less in slightly different places. So what you end up with is just little speckles here and there of extra stuff, usually glued to the letters or somewhere along the edges of the higher relief part of the design. You know, like the throat right there, the lips and mouth and the eyes. And they're different with each different die, but the effect is relatively the same. Now, yes, rust does develop on, say, entire boxes of dies that were stored at the mint. However, rust isn't just going to affect the areas of design change Rust is going to affect an entire part of the die itself. That's a surface issue. So here I'm pretty sure we're looking at a strange form of die wear, a box of dies that were probably not annealed properly. They weren't hard enough, and they started crumbling. It's like, imagine making a clay pot. You just don't mix everything together quite well for the clay. Clay, you don't have enough water in it when you're making the clay. Well, you'll end up with a crumbling clay pot that didn't have enough water. Or how about concrete that has too much sand in it? Too much sand and not enough other aggregate. What happens is, well, it sticks together pretty well at first, and it looks beautiful when you first make it, but step on it after it starts to dry and it crumbles. It's both, Paula. It's like you took a ice cream scoop and just scooped it up, but didn't pick out the scoop of stuff. That's kind of what we're looking at here. Is it's actually like it's almost like flow lines and moved die metal. Only it's a shorter span of area and a lot more severe than I'm used to seeing. Hello, Paul. I have seen this sort of thing on 1971 before. In fact, there was at one time a cherry picker listed variety for 1971 that they had thought might be a double die, and it actually was just this basic effect. So I think there might have been a problem in the die shop that year. Strange, though, that you only see it on the Philadelphia Mint dies, and I haven't seen any on San Francisco or Denver Mint dies. And the dies were all made in the same place. You need food. Grab me a turkey sandwich with provolone or American cheese, a little mustard, please and thank you. Jalapeno chips. Well, jalapeno chips too. So that was for Jeff Stanley. That's going to be coin number 36. Coin number 36 goes to Jeff Stanley. Coin number 37 for Wild Bill. This is Wild Bill's coin. Dog's downstairs for some reason. You can hear his toenails on the wood floor. Okay, ended up with nothing there. That's what we're kind of ended up with on this whole roll. So the whole roll's kind of turning out to be a bit of a bust, unfortunately. I like the idea of being able to get goodies, you know, run goodies out of it. I have 2 other reveals scheduled for today, and then I've got 1 scheduled for tomorrow. The 2 others I have scheduled for today are a 1950D roll that we're going to be doing at, what did I say? See, we had 3:30 at 6 o'clock, and then we're doing a 1944D roll, original bank grab 1944D roll at 9 p.m. Eastern time today, and then at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, I have that 1936S roll scheduled. And here's another response as to why I don't sell the entire roll at once, because, well, a lot of people can afford a few dollars for an original coin out of a roll, but they can't afford the hundreds of dollars that the original roll cost to begin with. And they like having their coins out of original rolls, and I don't blame them at all. You got coins that haven't seen the light of day in 50, 60, 70, 80 years. So that's why we do this. Another reason why we do this. Next on the list is JOB again. Well, let's see what JOB turns up. Got another one of the little pockmarked dies. See, you can see that there's... We'll zoom in on this again because we haven't done it in a little while. We'll zoom in on some of this stuff and see what it looks like. Let me brighten it up a little bit and take you over to it. See, they're humps, they're bumps, and they follow the flow lines. You can see where the flow lines are. And so this is the sort of thing that we're talking about. They look almost like little bits of gravel on the coin. They're poked out. They're really cool looking, but it's kind of detrimental if you found a double die with all this on it. Great marker, but it kind of takes away from the whole hub doubling thing. Even though we don't have any double dies in this roll, if we did, how would you like a double die that had this all over the letters? Looks almost like Longacre doubling, or it looks almost like what you see when you see die deterioration doubling on a nickel. It's just a lot more speckly looking. Yeah, 1944D is a very nice roll to find your way through. Hopefully we find a lot of goodies in that roll. Also, folks, I have 2 brand new rolls headed in that are 1955 Philadelphia bank wrapped rolls. Never been opened. That's going to be a cool one. Joe B, coin number 39. Coin number 40. I'm not sure, Wild Bill. I can go back and look when we get finished here. Just give me a chance. Let's see. This is for Bill Betts. I'm going to say probably half the coins in this roll had that effect on them. This one has it, but not to quite the degree some of the other dies did. Coin Junkie on the 55, I'll be selling spots. I've got 2 of them. 2 different sources, in fact. I got one 55 roll coming out of Chicago, and I got another 55 roll coming out of Chicago, but it's a different bank, different type of roll. So I know they didn't come from the same bag. So we doubled up on our chances to find something good. And who knows what could be inside them. No idea here. That was coin number 40 for Bill Betts. Now Jim Fletcher. Let's see what Jim Fletcher comes out with. Surprise, surprise. Another one of those dies. That rhymed, and I didn't mean for it to. Not that I was trying to avoid it, but it just happened to happen. Yeah, and I got a lot of rolls to make it through. And Jessica just sent to me from the hoard that we picked up in Chicago. There's a 1969 S original bank wrapped roll. There's other original bank wrapped rolls from other years that are known to pull RPMs and double dies. That was coin number 41. Goes to Mr. Fletcher. Well, let's take a look at coin number 42. Joe McBride. Joseph, this is what we have for you. This one's kind of toned down a little bit. Gosh, that's just a weird looking coin altogether. A very light strike, very weak strike on this. Let's look at the other side. Continue our weak strike in the building. And our strange die wear. Weird science here, folks. Who knows exactly what's causing all that stuff on there? If it's common for the issue, I can tell you for sure that it's the only issue that it's common on. because I've not seen it before. Not to that degree. I guess maybe I've seen some of it before, but wasn't really paying that close attention until it slaps you in the face like this. JLB gets the next coin. And finally, we have what appears to be more or less a no, never mind. Not more or less normal. This one's got little spots and flecks all over it, too. It's disturbance in the force. I feel the disturbance in the force. And here we are. The reverse of another coin out of this 1971 roll. Brings us nothing additional to speak about. And this one goes to JLB. JLB gets coin number 43. Now for coin number 44. That's going to go to Farm Dog. And Farm Dog's coin is it looks normal on the obverse. Let's take a look at the reverse. And normal there as well. Okay, Joe, I appreciate that. Was that a spiked head? I didn't see it. Let me go back and take a look at it real quick. See if we got a spiked head. Okay. Yeah, this is the one that's got the die crack running through the head, but there's no spike because there's nothing coming up off the top. Not that I can see. So that's coin number 44, went to Farm Dog. Now for coin number 45. Coin number 45 will go to Wild Bill. Well, here's your chance to know live whether or not you caught one of those. We can always go back and look at your other coins, but here is coin number 45. There we go. Well, Bill got himself a Nastigator. Yeah, one of those ones. This one looks like he's got warts all over his body. And all over the motto. I think, Bill, this is what you were looking for. So, yes, you did get one. At least one. Tell you that for sure. What'd you get? 3 coins in this roll? So either 3 or 4. There's Wild Bill's coin number 45. Number 46, Paul Hampton. Paul Hampton gets coin number 46. And coin number 46 looks like this. None specific. Folks, I want to tell you what. If you want to get rolls of coins and you want them to be very, very well secured in the box on their way to you, get them from Jessica Johnson. She spent an entire day wrapping up a whole bunch of rolls in a large flat rate box for me, and it took me a couple hours to get them unpacked. But I tell you what, not one roll was damaged in any way. How many rolls was that? So 22 little packs of rolls, about, I'm going to say an average of 6 per pack. What does that turn out to be? 132 rolls? Something like that. Deanne will get the next coin in the roll. It's coin number 47. but it was a heck of a large deal that we got. She kept a bunch of the rolls and sent a bunch of them to me. Confrontational nonconformist. I don't know that I'm confrontational, but I am a nonconformist. Clapmouth. Bill, it's your coin. You call it what you want. Absolutely. Call it whatever you want to call it. All right, that's Deanne's coin number 47. On to coin number 48. We've only got 3 coins left in this roll, and this one goes to Deanne. I'll go ahead and write her number on there, 48. And this one goes to Deanne. Let's see what Deanne gets. Well, gosh. Severely reacting to some sort of food he ate. I'm going to say it was horseradish, probably, that caused this. Yep. Horseradish caused it. Hey, Bill, it's a penny. Yeah, we found this in a lot of the coins in this roll. It is a very strange form of dieware, where the die is basically crumbling in little bits, kind of like a piece of chalk. And little tiny pits and holes develop in the die where it's missing its molecules because they've got up and ran away. And what you have left turns into little bumps on the coin. And that's what we've got. So this is coin number 48. Going to Deanne. I got 2 left. Coin number 49 will be for Wild Bill. Maybe we had only seen one of your coins before this happened. Or before you showed up anyway. Let's see what Wild Bill gets. Coin number 49. It's going to be another one of those. This one's a little deeper in color. Kind of lacking luster. But it's definitely got all that spotty stuff going on. Yeah, what I'll do, Paula, before I send the coin to you, is I'll take a series of photos that you can use on the Q&A. I'll just send you a picture of the photos so you can bring them up. In fact, I'll just email them to checkmycoin@yahoo.com. That's who you email if you want your coins checked on that show. A bunch of my friends get together on somebody's channel, and they hold a live Q&A every Thursday evening at 8:30 Eastern Time. It's 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see. Open a 1970s Bank of America wrapped roll. Northwest on the obverse there is a line underneath "In God." Is it concentric? Is it parallel to the rim? You probably got a concentric die gouge, and yes, I've seen a bunch of those. Not necessarily on 1970s, but on a number of different dates. Farm Dog's going to get coin number 50. Last coin in this roll. And here's what that looks like. Yes, another little case of the warts and zits. It's not as bad as a lot of these other ones, but it's still there. So no double dies in this roll. So we found a roll in which the mint did their job completely and well. Yeah, Majestic, I've seen that sort of thing. I wish I had a good example in my head that I could just pick out and plop up under the scope right now and show it to you, but I don't really have anything right now to bring that out. So what we ended up with was basically a roll of 50 coins. Nothing to get excited about here, unfortunately. We did have a bunch of examples. Probably half the roll, or even more than half the roll, turned out to be a very worn die that has a rather unique appearance to it. And let me go back through here real quick and look at Joe McBride's coins, because he volunteered to have one of his shipped to Paula. Let me focus this and see if we got a good example of it there. So first, when we get a really good example of it, I'll just take it out and it'll become Paula's coin. That's not one of them. There's another Joe McBride special. There we go. There's a cute one. Alright. Alright, so Joseph, this coin is going to go to Miss Bloom. Unless we find one that's even better. How many coins did you get? You got 2 or 3 in this roll. I'm going to look and see if I can find a third one, because I think you did get a third one. There we go. There is a third one. This one didn't turn out as good for the puck marks as your second coin, so I'll just pass this third coin to her. And so I'll give her this. I'll give her this one right here. We all appreciate it. I definitely appreciate sharing. If I ended up with any of the coins in this roll, I'd probably give her a half dozen of them, just to make sure she's totally filled up on them. Yes, it is die wear. It's excessive die wear. And oddly enough, I've only seen it on 1971 Lincoln Cents. Not exactly sure what caused it, where it comes from, but I know it's out there. I've seen it before, just not very commonly. So it is 10 minutes after 4 o'clock Eastern Time. We do have another reveal coming up at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we are going to unwrap the gifted 1950 D-roll from Joe McBride. That's going to be roll reveal number 93. Number 93. And then at 9 p.m. this evening, we're going to do roll reveal number 90. That's going to be an original roll of 1944D Lincoln Cents. If you guys never seen an OMM come out of a roll, tonight's your chance. I don't know whether or not there's OMMs in this, but it could be. Bill, the fat dates on 1968 S pennies, generally those are caused by the fact that the hub was totally worn out by 1968. And the 1968 was the final year of that design use before they re-engraved the design altogether for 1969 to try everything all over again. And that's why if you look at a 1968 Lincoln Cent and a 1969 Lincoln Cent next to each other, you can see that the face and basically the whole bust, all of the letters and everything else are completely different. Well, I can tell you what, there's probably not really much of any premium value in these coins with this odd form of die wear, but I can tell you one thing that is for sure. They are definitely going to turn out to be a nice conversation piece. Teaching other people in your coin club or your collector friends what this odd form of die wear looks like, to actually have an example, that'd be kind of cool. Well, the hubs don't really have to create a number of different pieces. If you think about it, hubs are basically the same thing as dies, only they're the opposite. Hubs are a positive impression, while dies are a negative impression. The hubs make the dies, and the dies make the coins. talk about a die making coins. Dies can make coins into the hundreds of thousands at least. 250,000 to a million coins made by each die pair. And each hub generally only makes about 20, 30, 40 dies before they retire it and put another hub into use, making additional dies. And then for each issue year, for instance, 1997 Lincoln Cents, just as an example, there were probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 billion coins minted. 7 billion coins minted when you get, let's say you get 1 million out of each die. You're using 700 dies. And then of those 700 dies, you get, let's say, 20 dies per hub. You're talking about 35 hubs used to make those dies. And yes, dies can also turn back to make hubs, although that's a very rare occurrence. Typically, the master die is what they use to make the dies. The 39 DDR number 1, that'd be Jefferson nickel, the one that shows the really strong doubling in Monticello. It shows this speckly type of die wear as the die gets older, as do a lot of other nickels. It's actually relatively common on nickels. On Lincoln Cents, it's not quite so common. 1971 seems to be a year in which there's concentration of them. See you around, Wild Bill. I'll be back on at 6. And on that note, folks, I think I'm going to go ahead and take off here, get ready to have dinner, and get things ready for the reveals this evening. We're going to have 2 nice reveals, a 1950D and a 1944D, both original rolls. So they're going to be very exciting to look into for the first time in over 70 years or 60 years. So I appreciate it, folks. I'm going to go ahead and take off now. You guys have a wonderful afternoon, wonderful evening if I don't see you. Peace out.